And then all of a sudden, all these baseball bats, I'm getting beat up, he's getting beat up, dude's
Right.
head getting split up. I'm like, what just happened?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back. I'm your host Bobby. I got a special guest with me, man. It's been like a big bro, someone I looked up to for a long time.
What's up? I'm Mike McQueenie. I'm from East Cambridge. Grew up there my whole life, you know. Bobby's been a part of my life since he was maybe like 8, 9 years old, man. Him and his little brother, even younger than that. Right? Actually, Bobby been a part of my life since he was 2 years old. They live next door to me near the park, you know what I mean?
We go way back in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
It was a real neighborhood feeling back then. Just why don't you tell the people who may not know, man, what was it like? I mean, you came up in a little bit of a different era than me. You were a little older. What was it like growing up like in East Cambridge, pretty much,
Man,
for you? How would you describe it?
You could go anywhere because everybody was your mom and dad, right? We can go into the park and stand there all night, and if you had to go into someone's house, you could just go your house.
Right.
Right? Your house is right there, so everybody could just run into your house, right? So all the adults were at the park, you know, they were drinking, you know, seeing the shit that we grew up with, like smoking weed, all that stuff, you know what I mean? So the parks were packed.
Yeah.
Jam-packed, you know what I mean? There was kids from all generations, right?
Right.
My generation, above me, below me. And it just kept going like that for years and for years. And we watched dudes come up, right? And it was the wrong way to come up. It was something that back then we idolized, you know. I grew up, like, you know, I'm gonna start when I was about 8 years old when I watched my father get pinched for his murder, right?
Right.
He went to jail, FBI came in, they kicked in the door, took my teeth out. Right away, I hated cops. Hated cops, right? Hated them. They took my dad away. I thought it was forever. You know what I mean? So I was just like, fuck cops. I'm good with cops. You know what I mean? And I took the attitude to the street real quick, right? I started going into like the bars my dad used to bring me into, and you know, I used to like play that little good fella act like Henry Hill in the bar in Somerville, and they think I was like Henry Hill, getting tips, stealing the beer, drinking, getting in the back, and that's how the drug and alcohol started in my life too. It progressed from there, you know what I mean? I started running around the neighborhood, started selling weed with like, you know my homeboys. I ain't gonna put the names out there, but you know who they
No
is.
doubt, no doubt.
You know, they're your brothers too, you know, and we was doing our thing, man. I mean, I remember I found dudes stuff down like a grate in the park. He threw his stuff because cops were coming, and I picked it up. It was like, you know, some of that white stuff, and I picked it up, and I just started doing what I did. You know what I mean? And
But that's like hitting like the street lottery when you're a little street kid.
Right? And me not knowing, picking that up, I'm out there meeting these dudes, and I'm selling them these like like things like this, right? And I bring it to the older homie, and I'm like, yo, I need to get this same thing. He's like, yeah, but you can never do that again. He was like, what do you mean? He was like, no one's called me for a month because you've been selling 2 G's for the same price dude is selling for it. I'm like, oh, man. So then, you know, the game started from there. He taught me the game, right? You know, for me, it was on and off, you know, because like you, I started getting little cases of fighting, right? End up in that boot camp.
Right. Well, did it start? What about school? Because I know for me, I was getting kicked out of schools before I was getting even locked up.
I got kicked out of 8th grade at Kennedy. I had a fight, and I beat up some kid I kept beating up kids in 8th grade, and they shipped me. They let me graduate at home through like one of those like tutors, and they sent me to Ringe. I was up there for like a week. I got no beef. That was it. They weren't having it no more. They gave me the choice. You either go to you can either get charged or you can go to this school called Fire Academy. I ended up getting charged and going to Fire Academy because I didn't go quietly. I graduated high school out of Fire Academy actually. I made it through there from '94 to '98, and that school saved that school saved me, bro. I would never graduate high school once for there, but in that school, it was all kids coming fresh out DYS.
So it was like a lockup
mentality. So it was like, yeah, you had that mentality. I mean, it turned a little different now, but back then everyone had that mentality, and I was a young dude in there.
Right.
So I learned a lot from them dudes too, a lot of the black kids from like Mission Hill and The Point. And I mean, a lot of them places they ain't even like that no more, but like they was like that back then, you know what I mean?
All right, I just want to cut you off real quick because I want to get back to your father. When they took him that day, how long was it until he was released? Like what happened? Did he?
So he waited trial for like 3 years. And originally he got a 15-year sentence. But after all those appeals and expressions and stuff, he come home after 10. And when he came home, I didn't want a father.
You were already in the
because
streets.
the streets were my father, you know what I mean? So I kind of rebelled against him at first.
Right.
He would try to tell me to do the right thing, even though he was doing the wrong thing, you know what I mean? And he would try, though. Like, he was a good father, stand-up dude, you know what I mean? Always try to tell me, stay on the right path and stuff, you know what I mean? But I always chose to do what he did, what I seen him do as a kid, right? And not only that, the characters that are around back then, who are all, God rest their souls, you know, I mean, most of them probably ain't up there with the law, but, you know, they were the Stone Cold Killers, you know what I mean?
And they were running with, like with the old school Winter Hill and all.
Hill,
like,
the real Winter Hill, right?
like
Before,
back in the
not that whitey
80s
stuff,
type,
the real stuff. Coming up, man, that's what I wanted to be. So I thought, all right, let me take that to my neighborhood. We can make this little gangster thing, right? And we can all start making a little bit of money. So then I started going around the neighborhood, giving like the older dude, a couple of the younger dudes weed, like, you know, and then a couple of dudes the other stuff. And I'm like, all right, we'll make it. And we really didn't get messed with, yo. And one thing I will say, we had it a lot easier than the kids from out in these other neighborhoods because, I mean, yeah, that white privilege set in because the cops didn't. We were on the block. We were right on the main strip doing what we did.
Fair to say.
And they didn't stop us.
Right. Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Even though dudes were hating, they're like, yo, them dudes on the main strip doing it. We didn't say nothing about them, but they're like, they're on the strip doing it, y'all getting us. But
oh, I remember we was on the wall in the late 90s. I remember it would be like cars would pull over and run up to the car like, oh, no, you want something? Oh, you then call someone else who got the weed, or this one got the boo, or that, like me, I'm hitting the next play or whatever, bro.
It was crazy.
And I never even thought about that. Like we really didn't get fucked with us. We never really we got posted a few times.
But it was mostly fights.
Yeah, but that's wild.
Because we had a wall, and we had every weapon you could think of behind it.
I remember.
So,
absolutely.
Dude run through, and it was always fighting for us mostly. You know what I mean? That's really, I mean.
Well, that's the one thing too. I always say is like, man, no matter what beef was going on, like we never really hid. Y'all knew where to find us.
Yeah, we was always on the block.
Or somebody.
We couldn't hide. We couldn't hide if we wanted to, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dudes rolled up on. I remember one time. I think it was the Port kids, man. They rolled up on us from the train tracks, all different. So I knew they must have had some Machiavellian map going on before because they all came with the same. And it was, shit's about to go down, bro. And shit went down for a little bit, but you know how Cambridge Street, it can't really pop off too long before cops come. So, all right, you started getting kicked out of school, FAR Academy, and everything like that. And then you went to Juvenile or not?
I went to Juvenile. So first I went into boot camp first. They offered me that 28-day forestry camp thing, but they sent me down there in '95 in the middle of winter.
Damn.
It was freezing cold, dude. I'm talking like they stuck me in this tent for like 3 days by myself in the woods. I tried to escape, and so they sent me from there because you can't pass like that. Ray happened to be with me at the time. The older Ray happened to be with me at the time, but we were in a different like they have like these 4 camp things. We were in a different one, but the dude who ran it was from Cambridge. He was like Joey Max's like cousin or something. So he'd let us talk here and there. But because I pulled what I pulled and I tried to steal a car with this kid from Charlestown, we tried to steal the counselor's car and they caught us, so they gave us 6 months. Yeah. But what happened was, so back then, you get indicted for offender. You went to Plymouth.
Oh, YO, yep.
You got
they
sent.
Were doing that too.
You got sent. You know what I'm saying. You got sent to C3, which at the time you was an adult unit when you were there.
Yeah.
But when I was there, it was a juvie unit. The whole joint was locked down. We came through. I was there with Eddie and Sean.
No shit.
From the neighborhood, you know what I mean? I was there with them dudes and a couple other dudes from out this way. Gary, who's dead, the Soul Coast kid, good dude. Died in the car accident, good dude, man. I was down there with all them, and then they let me out because the judge, I remember going in front of the judge when I was down there. He goes, let this kid out. He's going to be 17. He'll be back in front of me in a week. The judge is right. Damn. I turned 17 years old. Night before, dude, I mean, I think you might even been out there. Dude just from another part of Cambridge were out there running their mouth, smoking weed, being real loud. Dude told them to be quiet. Somebody liked their kicks. Dude ended up getting dropped. Next day, we get surrounded by like 40 dudes. I wasn't out there at the time, but like dudes, like other dudes were there, and they called me on the phone, so I go out there, I think I was with 2G, God rest his soul. Bobby was the best, bro. 2G, Romero, and little Mizzy, you know what I mean? It was us. And Mikey was like 8 or 9. I mean, you guys were young, dude. So he was like 8 or 9 years old. And so all the Like all the other Portuguese kids and all the other kids went up the other way. Now there was us, like the Irish and Italian kids, like which were like me, you, and like
Right.
we were very not as many as the Portuguese kids, but they weren't really about that. So some of them were, but we went up the other street and they went up one, and when we got there, and all these NC dudes were right there in the back.
Damn.
So it's
Wait.
only 4 of us. So instead of hesitating, we just run right full circle, bang, we start fighting. And then I see these dudes start pulling things out. Now I had a chain on my hand.
Shit.
So I just start swinging away, whatever. Oof. And next thing you know, I look over and dude's about to spike Bobby. I catch his arm and I just push back. Somebody, homeboy's dead, but my homeboy smashed his with a bat. Damn. And he had like a bubble on his head. And so when he went to hit my man, I grabbed his arm and I pushed. And it went, right? It burst that bubble.
Damn.
Almost cost me my life.
Right.
Almost cost me my life, man. I remember I ran through the courthouse. They took all my court. I ran through 2 courthouses, the probate court into the regular courthouse with a blood on my shirt. Took my shirt off, ran home.
Because the courthouse is right in our neighborhood.
In our neighborhood, right? So I ran right to my house on Spring, right? Because I was 1 block up.
Yep.
And the cop came, he goes, look at you, get back in the house, go clean up. Now, I ain't gonna mention the cop's name because I don't want to get in trouble, but he let me clean up, whatever. They come up, they're like, you're getting a child with attempted murder. I'm like, here we go.
Just turned an
Just
adult.
turned 17, first offense, right? They sent me up to Cambridge. I'm sitting up there. Now, this is back when you can get like shoes and stuff.
Did they give you a bail? Was it just like an astronomical bail?
Nah, they hit me with that 58A, Dangerous Society,
yep.
and then it came up to 6-month mark. They were like, no. I ended up sitting, you know what I mean? But then I ended up getting a probation violation in the Billerica while I was waiting trial, so they counted that time.
Wow. Damn.
I ended up going in a violation because I kept feeling for smoking dust. And they sent me up to Billerica. I get out on my birthday on Halloween. I thought I was getting out, and then they sent me back to Cambridge. After 190 days in Billerica,
right.
And then the 58A, I still had no bail.
Damn.
Finally, they gave me a bail. My nana put the house up.
Shit.
She got me out. I stayed out for like a couple months, then I went right back for a year with Ryan.
Right.
God rest his soul, my man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You were you pretty much knew you were going in anyway.
It was
so
over, yeah.
You had that like fuck it mentality.
Yeah, it didn't matter. So when the judge said, I'm going to give you a year for this, but you still got to face that, I was like, send it. You know what I mean? He gave me a year in Billerica. I sat in Billerica for a year. And then finally, the other case came up for trial. And me not knowing, I just knew back then, I'm like, you don't take nothing to the hoop. I wish I took it to the hoop because I would have beat that, right? It wouldn't even be on my record at all, but I didn't, so I took a plea. And
they scare you with the numbers that you face. If you lose a trial, man, we're gonna smoke you, and it's like
just like with me and you, right? When we had our thing, right? Well, so they did. They offered me 7 to 14. I'm like, if I don't take this, I'm over. My life's over, right?
Damn.
If I don't take this, it's over. So I ended up getting lucky though, because I took that. They sentenced me, and then I went in and I met a guy, and he taught me about the law. He looked into it. I only went from, like, this dude was in Billerica with me, so when I went to Concord, it was only for, like, short time.
Yeah.
It was only a couple months, right? But I was with this dude. He knew the law. He knew the law back and forth.
Right.
He got me revised and revoked back in front of the judge. They released me.
Wow.
So altogether, I did get faced, I did like 3 years altogether. So I got out, and this dude got arrested his soul, man. He was a hell of a dude. I mean, I don't know what he's in there for. Most of those lawyers are skinned up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he wasn't, but he got me out, right? And
godsend, though. I mean,
he was a godsend, right? He got me out, right? Because that would have started my life down an even worse path.
Right.
Right. Even though it gets a lot rocky, you know this, right?
Yep.
And then obviously I get out on that, and I'm like, wow, all right. I just got lucky, right? My life's good, man. I'm all right. I could have been, like, never getting out for a long time, right? So I got out, and I just lived it up, man, to the freest, but I wasn't thinking.
You're more up like, I'm playing with house money. Instead of taking advantage and doing the right thing with it, you're like, I'm ahead, if anything.
So I'm like, whatever, I'm going to come out, I'm going to live it up. And that's what I did. I started going to clubs, started doing my thing. Again, back to that same old hustle, grind, and I wasn't doing drugs yet, so drugs weren't a part of my life, nothing like that, right? And I was still hitting kids or dudes off a neighbor, which it killed me to this day that I hit the young dudes off, because some of these dudes are dead because they fall my league.
Yeah.
It breaks my
But
heart.
I always look back too, is like, you know, you was just a kid yourself.
I was.
Guiding
I was.
kid. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
was
people had nobody.
People did it to me too,
and you
and I
had respect
thought,
on your name, and I mean, we felt safe in our neighborhood too, because of the
Yeah.
older kid. You know what I'm saying? Like we felt safe in our neighborhood. Yeah, we were around, you know, our neighborhood, a bunch of tough guys, but they never fucked with us. You know what I mean? They more, if anything, took care of us. And,
It's it.
You know
We were
what I
like
mean?
a big family.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
kind of showed us like kind of, you know, you don't let your you know, you don't watch your friends fight, especially if they get beat up. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
You
It's a
win
fair
that.
one
You win
until they
that.
start getting beat up, then
Yep.
you gotta help them. But if it's
That's
between two friends, then you let them square it out. You know what I mean?
You are your brother's keeper. That's how we always kept it back then,
Yeah.
right? That's how we kept it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then, but eventually, I feel like so around all this time, the OCs hit the neighborhood. I feel like that is what, as a younger dude, like, didn't get into it like that, but just seeing over years how, like, I feel like that was the point. The whole neighborhood changed. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that?
100%. That's when I came home I think it was like 2001, 2000. I came out and they was already doing them, like Ray and them and like Fitz, all them dudes.
Right.
You know what I mean? They already doing them. And we used to always go to like the hotel over there at remember at the Holiday Inn?
Oh, what?
Over there,
Somerville?
yeah. It's in Cambridge, but it's in Somerville too. It's right near on McGrath, the Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
Bob used to rent, Tucci used to rent it out because he had to do the.
By
used
Gore
to-
Park, the
yeah,
build
dude
by
used to
the-
buy the trees, so we used to get it. So we used to get that, and one day I was in there and they had some people over and they were like, take this, it would do this. So I took it, and I remember puking, not liking it, hating it, and then. Again, you know, dudes like to do it, to take another one, I took it, whatever. I like the feeling. And these dudes were already hooked, and now I should have seen what they were going through, but I'd never seen them sick because we weren't paying big money back then. We were paying $8 a piece.
Right.
We had a connect in New Jersey who was giving it to us for dirt cheap, so you couldn't be sick
Can't
of
get sick
$8.
if you don't stop.
And you can't get sick of $8, right? Because we had so much money, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? So then one day, I remember it was 2000. Wait, went with 2021. Was that when the Trade Center hit?
No, 2001.
Is
You
it
put
2000?
20 years. 01.
2001, yeah, 2001. I was laying on my mother's couch. I just come home. I just started the office, and the planes were hitting. I was sick.
Damn.
And that was the day I realized I was sick. I didn't know what I was sick for, and I called Fitz. I'm like, yo, what's good, dude? I don't feel good. I got the flu, man. I'm going to the bathroom. He's like, you're dope sick. I'm like, don't you ever call me a dope fiend.
Right.
I don't do heroin, bro. That's for different people. You know what I mean? I don't use needles.
Right.
I don't do that stuff. You're crazy, bro. Like, this is different. And he's like, no, take the pill. You feel better, bro. And my mom had him.
Yep.
So I asked my mom, let me have it. She said no. So I did the army crawl, like dude talk about, and I took a couple and I ate them. I felt better.
Yeah, wow.
Jumped in the whip, bounced to Cambridge. You know what I mean? Did what I had to do to get some money. And then that's when it just went all downhill because another dude, their uncle, gave me some heroin. And he was like, try it. And I was scared. So I called my kid's mother at the time, Suzette, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to do dope. Give me some money. If I get this 80, I'm going to do this. I gave the dope to 50. I got the 80. I was good. Next day, I did dope.
Damn.
I sniffed a line of dope, and I realized it was the same thing, right? So, and then I ended up meeting a good connect where I was getting fingers, and then I started doing what I was doing. Like I said, this is all years ago, you know what I mean? I could talk about it now because they got a little statute of limitations.
Like
and not only that,
anyway,
they know. They already knew.
Right,
5 knew back then. You know what I mean? They just couldn't. It was just. I mean, they just couldn't do nothing about it, right? But I got hooked on that, and then I ended up meeting another. After I left my kid's mother, I met another chick, had another baby.
In the meantime, though, too, you were in and out. Out of jail, too, right? So what got you, because did you have to go to Nashua Street?
Yeah, Middleton,
Middleton.
all them places. Because I kept catching all these stupid cases in these different areas, right? The thing is, when I was in Suffolk, I was at a nightclub.
Yeah, okay,
and some dude said smack the girl, and I hit him. I knocked him out, and then the chick hit me with the high heel. I went to run, and the cop tripped me and caught me. You know what I mean?
And you served time for that? Or
yeah, right away.
Trial?
Because of my record, I got time right away. It was only short bid.
So
6
you was
months.
South Bay?
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months.
I didn't even go to Nashville. I went straight to the Bay. Oh, I spent the night in that. It was. I mean, I liked that. A TV in the cell and stuff. So to me, it was good. I wasn't from that county.
Right.
So there's no issues, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to. It's not like I'm out looking at the door like
you don't got street beef. You just whatever. It's just if you carry yourself like a gentleman,
you're
and
good.
obviously not like.
So I sat with like the Charlestown and the. I didn't get that time. It was like 2 kids from Charlestown, 2 Southie kids, or maybe 3, and then like my boy Chucky, he was from like Waltham or like Woburn or something like that. I knew him from Bill Ricker, and we all sat together. We did our thing. We ate, right? You know what I mean? It was just, like, again, it was a short bid. They tried to send me over to this building called 121. I got over there and I realized something was funny about it. And now I'd rather do my time in the cell. This was like kind of like a 5-man room type thing.
Okay, yeah.
But then I found out they were like mixing dudes that weren't right in there.
Oh, yeah.
So I was I only had a few days left, so I'm like, let me get out of here. So I ended up doing what I did, and I got put in the hole. I wrapped out of there.
That's probably why they put people who are short over there.
Yeah.
They're like, these are short, they're not gonna, why are they gonna fuck? Yeah.
So I ended up smacking the dude, because dude to pass the paper, because you go to gym, and dudes can pass paperwork in the gym, because like all the buildings you save gym, you just put in somewhere like, yo, I left that for you. Because you could talk like diagonally through gates and stuff. Like in the 3 building, they got the big, it's like almost like, it would be like, was you in the old Bill Record?
The old Bill Record?
Yeah, when they had the big yard.
No, not that.
Nah,
big,
well, all right. So you know the yard you would call it a big yard. They had one a little bit bigger.
That's where the new bit. They were
than
just building the new building
so
in that yard.
The yard you would call it that you would call it a big yard. It's a little bit bigger than that. Got two basketball courts, and then had the 4 building diagonal. So I would talk to them when you come out the yard, and they would tell me about dudes, no good, whatever. And I took upon myself to smack dude, and I ended up in the hole. I wrapped up out of the hole. And
how long did you have to do in the hole?
Nah, like 3 days, bro. I was going home.
Yeah, 3
I was
days.
going home,
Okay.
so I didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
So
I know the hole sometimes can fucking drag, bro.
It killed me. And Bill Ricker, bro, 30 days the program. Poof.
30 days. So talk to me about that. So where you get 30 days, you get hit with 30. What did you like? How do you make the day go by? What was? Did you have a routine? Because I try to do a little routine. Like I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna read till lunch. I'm gonna boom, boom. I'm gonna work out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta kind of do that.
I tried. I read, bro, but all I did was scream out the window to my boys. Like, because everyone was
Right.
downstairs.
Oh yeah, because the way the old Bill Ricker was,
right? I'm catching
right in that window.
And then I got the thing, so I'm fishing to the yard, pulling up cups of coffee. You know what I mean? Back then, drugs weren't in the picture, and Bill Ricker. I mean, unless you got lucky.
Yeah, there was no contact
There was no
visits,
contact
and people
visits.
don't usually even come from the street. Most of the time, they come from Cambridge. You know? 1 or 2 people come from the street.
Speaking on that, my father came to visit me, bro. They made me see my father because he had done time. It was on a 209A visit, like we had a restraining order. They made me shackle and shackle up and go in to visit my pop because he had this OC shit on his record. So they made me visit my father like we had a restraining order shit. So it was like weird to me. I'm like, why am I getting shackled? They're like, because your father know how to. I'm like, dude, the screen's this big, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I remember the screen.
Door, bro? I'm like, what do you think? You gonna pop me through the screen, bro?
I actually seen Nancy Kerrigan visiting her brother Mark in there.
Up there.
Yeah, I was like, actually it was my visitor. They were like, that's Nancy Kerrigan. She had like a hat on trying to be this. I was like, oh shit, it is. Which is wild. What about so tell me about Middleton though. Was it a different, because you go up there, that's North Shore, it's a little bit of a different vibe, and I heard they got like dogs.
But yeah, I'm gonna tell you something about Middleton, right? I see dudes on the show and they tell you, oh, the Bay, the Gladiator came. It is. But Middleton had to be the worst one.
It's more gangs, right?
Yeah, and because you got the federal inmates, you got the
like
state
Plymouth
inmates,
had
it's like that,
inmates,
right? But like, I, being from Middlesex County, for some reason, I always got stuck on the gang block, 120B, all the time. Luckily, I have my man Stevie with me, who did a lot of time up there. A lot of dudes know him. He's upstate. I mean, he's home now, but he's a very known dude in that county. So I was always good up there. And then Stocky was up there, so we'd walk the yard, you know, and not the yard, we'd walk the thing. I ain't going in that yard. Them dogs were this big, and then it had this little lady like this big hole in the dog. Damn. You go to chow, you got to walk by, not 120B, but if you're on another unit, I never been to other units, I only been on 120. Your brother was there when I was there, but I was on 120, and I was trying to see him because he was diabetic, so I kept trying to make medical calls in, so I could see him, but I could never bump into him. But I was at 120. A couple of dudes sent over, letters and stuff from him, but that was really it. He was in 240C, I think.
And the dogs are not like, they're not drug sniffing dogs, right? They
did
discipline, like to
bro,
attack,
they for some reason the smell of the uniform makes them go crazy. So I think they beat them with the uniform.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Because it's like some escape type stuff. You know what I mean? They
what have you heard of them? They bite people and stuff?
Yeah, they bite. If you get too close, they'll bite you, bro. So I was in a fight up there. I was in a fight up there, and when I was fighting, I got it back here, right? I got in the back of the leg, right here, because my kid's mother got murdered. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Christy,
I know.
right? She got murdered, and they happened to put me on the unit with the dude because dude didn't have my kid didn't have my last name. So they put me on a unit with dudes. So once I found out, I walked to the front of the cell, I grabbed the doors, and I booted him in. And when I was booting him in, this boy poked me, but I didn't know, so I just ran and started banging on the dude. And a couple of my boys threw water down, the cops came in and slid. The dog got let loose. But the dog started biting dude, not me. Thank you, God. Because that dog was tearing him, pulling him out of the cell. It was an ugly scene. Put it that way, it's an ugly scene. You know what I mean? But Middleton, I mean, again, if you're a good dude, you're a good dude. You're gonna make it wherever you go.
That's all how you carry yourself.
That's
you
it.
Just carry yourself as a gentleman.
As a man.
You know what I mean? And don't let no one
pump you up.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you gotta just.
And that's really
they'll
it.
try little small things to see how much people can get on you.
Like,
you know, a lot of times they'll try the finesse game.
In Middleton, they'll come to you like, yo,
they don't really try to brute force take
no.
your shit.
In Middleton, they'll come to your room like, you got anything?
Right.
Yo, hook a dudes up. I'm like, bro, get out of my cell. I ain't got nothing. Let's beat it, bro. And if I had something, I'll let you know, because that means you're my boy, and I'll take care of you. But I don't know you like that, so keep moving. I'm like, dude, you ain't even on this tier anyway. Why you coming? I'm like, get back upstairs. You're never even gonna see me, bro. Get back upstairs.
Motherfuckers out of place, fucking begging for fucking.
Right? It's like kids like you're a wreck. You're on the first floor. They don't let you out with the second floor over there.
Oh yeah, same thing in the new build record.
Yeah, but
it's all controlled
it's all controlled movement.
It's corny because that just means more cell time, which is, bro, like doing county been and built. Like my last time there was like, it's like 21 hour lockdown pretty much.
Yeah.
We talk about like max type of fucking like rec hours and shit, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
The 90 days I was there for like 6 months.
19-hour locking. That's how 120 is all the time.
Yeah.
In Middleton. So last time I went to Billerica, they tried some funny stuff. Tried to put me in a cell with somebody they knew better to be putting me in a cell. Put it that way, right? I ain't gonna get into the details, but I'm like, yo, you can't live here. And I'm kicking like, you can't live here. Like, you know, you don't want to live here either.
Right.
So like, let's just make this a mutual agreement. So I ended up moving in with little Johnny.
Okay.
And I got out the next day, so it was all good. But I wasn't spending that night. You know what I mean?
So what was that the last time you was there?
That was the last
Middleton?
time. No, I went to Billerica.
Oh, Billerica was the last time.
Yeah, because like 3 years ago, I decided to relapse and do something stupid.
Yeah.
I took a couple of Valiums and I got out of control and I relapsed. You know, that was 3 years ago. But before that, I had been on drugs for already like 4 years, 5 years. You know what I mean? I haven't touched heroin now in 7, 8 years. You know what I mean?
Proud of you, bro.
You know, even on the pill stuff like that, I made that mistake that one day. Besides that, I haven't touched ever since.
What got you to finally make that decision to really, really want it?
My youngest son. Right now, he's not my youngest son anymore. He's my baby. But like I have another son, Abel. My son Michael. He was being born, and I had a choice: go to this program in Framingham, do the right thing, get clean, or lose my kid. So I was like, I'm gonna go to this program. The day my kid was born. Now this is for a lot of dudes out there that don't believe in God, right? So I was in this hospital, and they said, we're taking your kid if you don't get into this program. 5 minutes right before they was about to release us, we got a phone call. We got into that program.
Wow.
That's a God moment to me, right? Now, now at that time, I wasn't catching no God vibes and like that. I wasn't thinking like that. I went up there. I was still kind of like doing dumb stuff, like sober, taking a couple Johnnies, stuff like that, doing dumb stuff, right? And I started going to AA meetings, which is not something I do to this day, you know what I mean? I'm not an AA person anymore. But I did go through it, and I did good for a while doing that, but it wasn't until I realized that, and I did that, I had that little slip, that I realized that emptiness in me, it wasn't AA, it wasn't being clean, it was me. I didn't have God. I didn't have Jesus in my life, bro. And today, now 3 years later, I can say is that I submitted my life to Jesus. And ever since then, my life has gone better. Man, I'm about to get my son back at the end of the week, right? You know, and this is something that would not be possible without my belief, right? And dude, even being out there in the street homeless, I go out and I pastor with dudes. Like I talk to groups. I go out into like Worcester. I go out into the Boston Common. Soon we're about to hit Mass Ave. I go out there with dudes that are just like me and you that did a lot of time, that just turned their life over because, you know, You know, in John 3:16, it says God sent His only Son. You know, so you could have eternal life, right? So now we go out there and we preach that gospel that we learned, right? And I'm still learning, right? Because I'm a baby in Christ. I'm like this, so they call it a baby in Christ. I'm an infant, and I'm growing, right? I read this book every day to learn and learn more so I can pass it to other brothers. Right? And that's my goal now in life. My life ain't about money anymore. It ain't about how I make it. It ain't about my past. It's about being a new creature in Christ, right?
Serving God.
Yeah, He taught me
humanity.
that I have to have a total new state of mind. And I ain't there yet, bro, because I still sin, right? We're always going to sin.
Right.
Because Adam and Eve started that sin nature in our life. We're always going to sin. And I know there's dudes that are going to...
accept that.
There's going to be dudes that don't, like, you know, they don't follow religion. And I ain't trying to get on them about that, but, like, we're always going to sin.
Right.
None of us are perfect. Only Jesus was a perfect man. There was one perfect man, you know what I mean? But since that time, my life has gotten meaning. I've gotten
purpose.
Yeah, man. Like I can go out there and I can tell a homeless dude that's on drugs. I can be like, "Listen, can I talk to you for a second?" He'll talk to me, and I can be like, "Yo, I'm homeless. I got Jesus in my life, bro. I don't go without a meal. I don't look at me. I don't dress homeless. I'm all dirty.
Right.
I got somebody that's gonna take me now to take a shower, bro, because they trust me, because they know I'm with the Lord, right? And I explain it to people, and a lot of churches try to ask me like, "You want to come out with us?" You know, but I got my boys that I've been doing this with for a while now, and you know, I'm waiting to get discipleship, and you know,
that's amazing.
once all that happens, my goal is eventually one day to get back and get into the prisons.
Yeah.
And like I said,
I would love to be a part of that if I can, man. However, you could work your way in, man. Definitely.
We're working it, bro. We're looking at it now. Like we already got the Teen Challenge thing going, so like.
Oh yeah. I know of
you know, Teen Challenge, like so it's a Christian-based program. Like we, like again, I'm not religious. I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's it, bro. It's like not about Catholic Church, not about all these other churches. It's about having your relationship with Jesus Christ. You know, and I stopped going to AA because they weren't accepting that.
Right. Well, you got to think it's ran by people who are full of sin and flaws.
Exactly.
And it's just like anywhere you go, it's going to be room for corruption.
I walked out because the dude told me he saved the dude.
Right.
And I'm like, only Jesus can save, and he got mad at me. And they kind of persecuted me, which Jesus said, you will be persecuted in my name. And he was right? So I've been seeing that a lot, that I'm walking that right path, right? And I just got to continue down that path for my life to get better. You know what I mean?
The fact that, like, even me, but you too, you've been through a lot. The fact that, like, we're still here, it's like, it has to be for a reason, right? And God has us here for a purpose. And it's like, everything happens for a reason too. And it's like the littlest, like you say, God moment. Like, I've had so many moments where it's like, man, divine intervention.
That's
what it is. Whatever, it's like the day before my house got raided, I gave a friend a more amount of stuff that would have got me a lot more time. And I've never did that before, whatever. And that was so long ago, and I don't even touch that shit anyway nowadays. So whatever. And I mean, reading the paperwork, they kind of had an idea too, because they in the paperwork, and this is something I already did time for. They're like, oh, the snitch had said that I would go into a softball-sized bag and pull it. When they came, they only found a couple packs. The day before my house got raided,
I remember.
I was like, it's not like that was something I did all the time. But like, God is not gonna speak to us like on our cell phone and like FaceTime us, right? It's like not gonna use English. Like he don't use words, bro. Like we created words, humans. Like you know what I mean? Like he gives us signs in different ways. He talks to us in different ways, and that's why there was instances where, man, a friend of ours who passed away could have killed someone in my living room. If the friggin' a clip fell out of the gun, man, the kid picked the gun up and squeezed the trigger.
And I took jumped the clip. I remember.
Because I was not always trying to be like, no, I could have still been sitting if that went a different way. Like, why am I here, bro? And like other things, like I seen a dude at work die right here, man. And I was like it was a big ballast, a big weighted thing for a lighting treat was coming down off of a lull. And my thing was not going in. It was bent, my screw jack leg. And I'm like, yo, this isn't working. I gave it, he was like the lead or the foreman. He was like, oh, they only pack so many. Let me try it on this one. I stepped back. My little brother was on the other side of it. It came my way, but he was on he was kind of down like this. I was able to step back. Yeah, arrested, and it was right, and I couldn't even close my eyes for a while because, and anytime I saw someone with glasses, he had wore glasses, and you could see it in his face. Like he put, like I could see he knew it in that quick second. He knew it was a rat. He just got done telling us how much it weighed, like it was 2,000 pounds or something like that. Kid went to work, yeah, and I'm like, oh, there has to be a, you know what I mean? Like that's why this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I try to turn like a negative into a positive because I try to put prison behind me and all that, Mike. But it's like I get phone call from it every day from my little brother.
It's hard.
You know what I mean? I
It's
grew
hard.
up
Yeah, you in a tough
like
position.
your dad was away, my dad was away.
Yeah.
He got out a little like I was 10, so it was still more like we
That
do the beach
relationship.
on the weekends. But
Yeah.
after a couple years, it was more like now I'm on the
You
streets
raised
in the
yourself.
weekends.
You raised yourself, I remember.
And yeah, man. So it's like there has to be a bigger purpose. But like so. I try to flip it and turn it into, okay, I can't run from jail. I can't run from prison. Otherwise, I'm turning my back on my brother. So let me flip it into something positive, and that's what I'm trying to do with
And
this.
that is what you're doing, right?
You know what I mean?
And you're not only doing this, you're helping kids at the gym.
Right.
Teach them how to box, you know what I
Yep.
mean? All that stuff.
Even just posting the workout videos, I get all sorts of people like, oh, you motivated me. And that's all that matters. If I get one person that I can help or motivate,
that's
all
right.
the people who talk and comment and little slick stuff because I don't, whatever that they got
always
going
haters.
on,
There's
I don't
always
judge
haters.
people
There's
because
always
life
haters.
is tough, man.
Yeah,
I know it. So
but there's always
when I see
haters out
somebody
there.
doing something that's kind of like, damn, I wouldn't move like that. I get it though. Life's tough on everybody.
It is. We all get it in different ways,
Yeah.
right? We all learn in different ways, right? You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? That's why I learned, like, I had to isolate myself from even some of my best friends.
Right.
Because if I didn't, it'd be hard. I wouldn't be getting my kids back. I wouldn't be going through the journey that I'm going through now, right? I would be on that slippery slope again, right? I wouldn't have met my wife.
Right.
I would have still been on a methadone clinic somewhere else. Like, that's the other thing, right? It took me to methadone, man. That shit would have brought me down forever.
Right.
If I stayed on that, right? But me and my wife, it opened my eyes and took me off all them other pills and all the other stuff that I went on, right? So I've been happily married now for a long time. And that's only because of God, right? Because I was in no position to have a wife.
Right.
I was all fat and dirty, bro, like strung out on the street, drooling on my face. I meet this beautiful girl. She want to be with me. I'm like, what? And that's because they say, God ain't going to send you a girlfriend. He's going to send you a wife.
Right.
And that's not me saying that, that's biblical,
Right.
right? And that's what happened in my life, right? 'Cause I stopped looking, B. You know me,
That's what happened
as
to
a
me.
kid, I could have any chick I wanted when I was a kid. But I chose not to really get caught up like that. I might have my kids, you know, with these girls, but I was never in my right mind until I met my wife, right? And then, you know, my life became meaningful. Now all it is, I'm about to be a grandfather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's a little tough, but like,
Yeah.
I'm 43 years old, I'm about to be a grandfather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I hope.
I've seen younger grandfathers. but
and I just hope and I pray every day that, you know, that my daughter, she sees that what I'm going through and that maybe she watches this, she sees how much I love her, and it's just that I say things sometimes because I don't want her to go through the thing that me and her mom and some of her family members had to go through, right?
Right.
The things we had to experience, right? We don't wish that on nobody, right? Because we experienced some stuff that we all wish we could take back and not see.
If our story can deter them from going through that, it at least kind of makes it like worth it. Like, damn, I had to go through all that, but if I have to go through this, so my son doesn't, whatever, I'll do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Can you break that cycle?
Right.
And that's what I want to do.
You gotta be the chosen one, right?
And that's
somebody gotta be the chosen one in the family.
And that's one thing our parents didn't understand, right? Break the cycle.
And the thing I always like,
and I love
our parents, I always look back, were kids, like, you know, I look at my parents, they were like teenagers in the 80s. Like, the world was different, you know what I mean? We didn't have access to all sorts of knowledge and stuff. You kind of just go off of what your parents tell you and your friends tell you. You can't just look stuff up, you know what I mean?
And we couldn't look stuff up either.
Yeah, my grandmother was like, yeah, you pregnant, go on welfare, boom. And that's like how my mom, she didn't know no better.
But no one did. And now you know, right? Now you know because you see all these, the way they're trying to make the world now, caste society, right? They're trying to like own us.
Right. No.
They're trying to own us, bro, right? I ain't trying to be a slave to nobody.
Right.
They're gonna be tracking all our money soon, right? This is all fact. Like it's
We're
not
already
even,
tracked on
it's not even like
cell
that.
phones
Exactly.
and all
It's
that
not even
stuff,
like us being paranoid. It's like fact.
No,
right?
if someone went out and bodied somebody, trust me, they'll know where we were if they had to reach into it. We just not important enough right now
and
that
they know,
care, but they can if they have to.
They know.
I mean, the Patriot Act was a whole.
Yeah.
They snuck that
was
in.
the starting.
They put it
that was
behind,
the start
like,
of it.
make sure to keep the country safe. But that just gives them the end to what they're
to
doing.
start,
Yeah.
and now they making that cashless society where they're trying to get rid of money. So that means like a lot of these dudes that are out there still doing what they're doing, they can't do that no more because now the government gonna know exactly where that money going.
They're gonna know, yeah, where the money's going. They're gonna know where you was at. There's cameras everywhere. Everywhere. Nowadays. It's just, I'm not saying it ever was a time to be a criminal, because that shit was, like, looking back, was always, like, stupid, always corny, but we had to go through it to get through it. We had to go through it to get through it. But nowadays, people, it's just like, people know they're on camera. It's just people don't care, and it sucks because I feel like a lot of the youth is just programmed that way, that like that's all they know. We're kind of at that generation, like, we know how it was before that. This is not normal.
This ain't normal, because like you look at all these kids coming up and rap now, right? Like
ratting on themselves.
Right, and then you see them like get RICO Act and stuff, right?
Right.
You're on camera. You're killing people on IG. You're doing live. You're talking about killing your ops on the TV.
Right.
Like, of course you're gonna go to jail, bro.
Right.
And then you get your man snitching you. But you're snitching your man in the video.
Right.
So like, what you guys gotta learn. Like y'all didn't learn, right? Like y'all.
And it was because the older head, like that's why hopefully some younger kids can learn from us now.
Listen.
You know what I mean? But it's tough because it's not like we could just go back to the neighborhood and go to the kids on the wall and talk. It's not really like that.
Not
in
like
our
neighborhood.
neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Our neighborhood
You know what I'm saying?
gentrified.
Yeah,
It's gentrified,
I mean,
right?
yeah, the whole city kind of is.
It is. Cambridge is a great place though, because it's
amazing
multicultural.
right now. Yeah, I go down to Darnley Park, the motherfuckers playing volleyball, all sorts of stuff. But I'm like, damn, I wish the heads that was out here could enjoy like how it is now. You know, even though most of the times those people won't even talk to us.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
But you know what's funny though is that I try to tell people now when I'm in Boston, I'm like, a lot of people would say that our neighborhood was racist.
Yeah.
But in reality, we grew up with everybody.
I think that, like, I wanted to address that too. Anyway, like, I think it was like a couple bad apples kind of might have ruined the bunt. You know what I mean?
Saying a couple words, and it was really just a couple words that was said, right? Never really just
right. It was never really like in anybody's heart. You know what I mean? I feel like it was more just like, I'm gonna try to punk you and say the most disrespectful thing I could do, and what are you gonna do about it? Punking, you know what I mean? As opposed to in somebody's heart, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it was.
Yeah.
My mom, we had everybody over. I had white people, black people, everyone sleep over, everything.
Especially you out in West, right?
Yeah,
Especially you out in West.
Yeah,
you know
man,
what I mean?
like it was never like
and then
like that.
The other thing is that most of my boys after all that like little kid stuff came, like I never, like all these dudes from the port I went to school with.
Right.
Half these dudes are my boys. Like
Right.
even some of these dudes that are out here in the coast, like that I used to like really like have like that beef with, like that beef. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like we became like because my man over there that be with Middle East, that's my boy, right? And because of him, like all that stuff.
Right.
Right, and now a lot of them do to my boys.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of them do to my people.
And luckily, like the way as much beef as we had as far as that went, nobody got killed.
No one.
Which was like a godsend, a blessing too, because that could have just turned into a whole different thing.
Godsend, not the word.
And now it's like you can say what's up to people. I see dudes all the time that we had beef with, and it's actually more like of a respect thing too.
Yeah.
You almost kind of build a bond with somebody after like beefing them. I mean, obviously it depends on the reason you're beefing. If somebody's touching your sister, doing some weird shit, you know what I'm saying? Like that's different. That's like beef forever. But you know, a lot of it was stupid shit. Like, yo, what you walking through my neighborhood, why you staring at me?
Dude,
like that's not no
bushes.
beef over nothing, really. Like we could squash that. You know what I mean? It's really not the beef. The reason behind it was never really solid. It was just stupid
kid
stuff.
Just kid stuff.
Just
dude jumping out of bushes.
people trying to prove themselves and just
It'd be funny because you hear dude jumping out of bushes.
Yeah.
And shit, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. I remember that time.
And like homeboy, that's my
boy.
man too, right? That's my man. That's my man now, right? All them dudes, you know what I mean?
I just think it was kind of like a couple bad instances, couple bad apples who may have really felt that way or stuff like that, and then there was times where people lied too.
Yeah.
People have lied and said that words were said that I know for a fact that were not
said.
But because you got beat up in the one-on-one, but you want your older cousin to jump in, you gotta say, yo, this person called me that, and like, no, I know for a fact, like a couple, I'm not saying that people never says
100%.
racist stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna deny it, like, but like, there was times where it was blown way out of proportion and all that stuff.
And we out there risking our life for nothing.
Yeah, and it was and back then too. I try to tell, but this is before the cell phone era. So you could have gone to beef with somebody down at Kennedy Park. We posted on the wall. We don't even know.
No, you know.
We don't even know.
Don't even know.
And the dudes come out right on us like, what's going on? We got to fight. We don't even know why.
Yep, happened to me and Stevie. And Stevie Monk.
Yes.
It was me and Stevie Monk, and I think 50 was out there. We didn't even know dude rode in. And then all of a sudden, all these baseball bats, I'm getting beat up. He's getting beat up. Dude's head getting split up. I'm like, what just happened? And that was because dudes were down there at old boy's house on 6th Street, had that beef. Blew up the steps, whatever they did. And then next thing you know, it's like 70 dudes jumping out from behind our wall, jumping on us. And I'm like, what's going on? Exactly. But it is what it is, you know what I mean?
Like, that was a different time, a different
era.
It
is a different era. But like these kids now, I just wish they, it's sad because you're right, there ain't kids in our neighborhood we can speak to. But if there's kids watching, that they see what this world is now. It's all cameras. It's all rats. Everyone's going to tell on you. Your own boy's going to tell on you. They don't have loyalty no more, right? And what we did was not right. It was never right. It was never good. It was never the right thing to do. You know what I mean? The only thing I say is the love we have for each other, that was right.
Right, the brotherhood.
The brotherhood and the love, but we should have took that because we could have took that to a 500.
Some of those morals still can hold true and stuff like that.
But we could have had like a 500 company, right? What do they call it? Made like a company out of it and made real money, like legit, right?
Exactly.
Because what do they say about the worst dudes? Like even dudes like Whitey, who's dead, right? That dude could have made a Fortune 500 company if he just used his head right. Yeah, we could have been the same way.
And that's what I'd say to a lot of people who come home and they're hustlers. Like, man, just you find out what it is that you like and try to gear your your business or whatever you're trying to do towards that. You know what I mean? But before I let you go, man, we got I just want to say, man, well, you got any advice for somebody? Say they just came home. They're worried about maybe relapsing or something like that, man. What kind of advice would you give to a person like that? They come home, they got no probation, because sometimes we need that. You know what I mean? You got no probation, you got nothing. But they're nervous about relapsing.
See, my thing now is before I would have told them to go to a meeting, but now I would tell them just to look deep. And the Lord says, seek me, and you will find me. And since then, He's taken that desire out of my heart. And I truly believe that if anybody seeks the Lord, He will come. He never, ever will let you down, right? And they come out and they say that and they ask for that help, just from the Lord. They will get it. Yeah. I can promise that. And if anybody comes home and it doesn't, come see me. Come see me and tell me it didn't happen. Right? It won't hurt you. You can just try it. If it hurt you, come tell me it hurt you. But I guarantee you it won't. It will bring you to a place of peace you ain't never had before. You ain't never had before, you know what I mean? And nowadays I also know that, they're pushing medication on dudes in jail. If you don't need that medication, don't take it. If you need it and you think it's going to be a crutch to help you get out and not overdose, do what you got to do.
Right. Better than being dead.
Yeah, it's better than being dead. That's why I agree with it, right? But if you come out and you don't need that, then stay away from it, because that is also can lead back to relapse, right?
Be a trigger.
But
maybe if one day you take a little too much, you'd like that feeling.
You like that feeling again, right? So, but if you don't need it, don't take it. That's the best advice I could give, right? Because I can't support AA anymore because of my faith, because they give too many different outlooks on what faith can be. They can believe in the devil or believe in a light, but if I say Jesus, they throw me out.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of can't give that advice, and that's just that's where I'm at in my life.
Well,
right.
You got to find what works for you. Like my whole thing is like working out, pretty much. And I never, me, I never got into like heroin or shooting it, but like, man, I fucking can drink. Drinking was always probably my biggest substance problem. You know what I mean? And not even like the drinking every day. It's just like the extent of how much I would drink, and then the consequences. You know what I mean? I'm not one to drink too much and then I pass out for the I'm out there doing stupid stuff.
Stealing ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, like doing literally stupid stuff, man. Freaking shoulder bumping bus drivers, getting an assault battery on a public employee because I'm just drunk. I don't got money for the bus. Like stupid case. I don't got money for the bus. So you can't get on, and that's assault on a public employee. You know what I mean? Which makes it seem like I don't know what it makes it seem like, but they try to make it seem a lot worse, man.
It does.
Yeah,
does,
at the
bro.
end of the day, I would say people, you know, like you said, you gotta change. Like if things obviously aren't working, what we were doing or what you were doing that landed you in jail or wherever landed you in addiction, it's just like it's time for a change. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you got to make that change, and it really starts with the mindset and making that decision. This is what I want to do.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And accepting the love of God or accepting whatever it is that works for you. It just be willing and open-minded and realize, too, it get to a point, it's not even, you got to say it's not even about you no more sometimes. Like, you got to look at the people you hurt and, like,
Yep.
sometimes, like, what did your mom do for her to have to send you $40 a week now because you're in jail? But you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
what does she do? So sometimes we got to take that selfish mask off and be like, bro, it's not even about me. What can I do that's gonna be really best for everybody around me?
It's a lot harder out here than it is in there.
Absolutely. There's no responsibilities in there. You wake up and just be on the Thorazine shuffle for 3-4 years to
3-4
get out,
years.
and
That's
it's
right.
like, you know.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before I wrap this up, man?
All praise to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
All praise
Absolutely.
go to the Lord.
Amen
With
on
me,
that.
brother.
All right, man. It is what it is. What's next is what you make it. I'm Bobby. It's my big bro Mike right here, yo. On that note, we out. Thank you.